So yesterday I posted on Facebook that I was going to do a video on the 5 most popular made-up words that modern humans use, and got some really interesting responses. So apparently this is somewhat relatable, and a lot of it goes back to, if you remember, Shawshank Redemption. I remember Red, he gave that speech about what does it mean to be rehabilitated, and he said it's just a made-up word. It doesn't really mean anything. And of course, writing on the self as an illusion, the self is just another made-up word. And by made-up, I mean you can't point to it. There's nothing in reality. There's nothing in experience that can be pointed to by these sounds, and yet we use these words all the time as if they are somehow meaningful. Now, it doesn't mean maybe some of these are useful, but there's a big difference between useful and meaningful. If they're useful, they're just placeholders, and if you're having a conversation using these words, just kind of a smile going on because they don't really mean anything. And even if we get to the simple, so we could say, well, okay, what words are meaningful? And if I point to a lake and say lake, you can say, well, that's meaningful because we can all experience the lake. And it's an arbitrary sound, but it makes, quote, sense because I can sense the lake. And we can all have common sense and we all experience the lake in the same way. But if we really want to take it down a little bit, it's Friday, we can get a little weird. That also is a bit meaningless because the materialists have failed us. They haven't really explained what matter is. And so if we point to the lake and we say, well, that's a lake. Well, what is it really? And there's a sense, this feeling that we get it. But when you take it apart and really try to resolve the mystery, we don't really know what matter is. And so all words are kind of meaningless. But let's get back to the list. And the first is the self. And I've talked about this in so many different videos. The self is an interpretation, it's a left brain interpretation, an idea that explains a lot of going-ons during the day. But when we really try to experience it, we can't. This is the self-inquiry. And so, okay, look in the mirror, you can see your face, but to whom does the face belong? Who is really the pilot, behind the eyes, between the ears? It feels like it's somewhere in the skull. But can you actually see it? Can you experience it? And you can't. And so in that sense, it's just a made-up word. Very popular, free will, willpower are popular words that we use all the time that mean nothing. And I say they mean nothing because they don't point to anything. Where is your free will right now? Do something simple like, okay, lift a finger. Okay, did I experience free? It's a mystery. That's why we've been pondering on it for so many thousands of years. And of course, if there is no self, there could be no free will. There could be no self-improvement. So all these are quite made up. Number 3, I haven't been really going in order, but 3 is success. And the reason success is a made-up word, the reason success doesn't exist is the same reason people can't find it. Or maybe I should say it's the reason people are always looking for it. They're always looking for it because it's never there. It's like, well, I'll stop looking when I find it, but you never stop looking because you never find it. It's a made-up word, a lot like failure. You can't experience it. There's the shadows here. There's the sense that maybe you can experience it, but then it gets all redefined. I mean, often people say, oh, well, I'm successful. And then a second later, that all gets redefined, the goalposts get shifted, and then they realize they're going to continuously look for this made-up word for quite a bit of their life. And one of my favorites, number 4, is ownership. Because it has no physicality. It has no way that anyone can experience it. And yet, it's the foundation of the way the world appears to work. I can be standing next to a billionaire, and it's a collective fantasy. There's no physicality. If I say, show me how this person has billions, the only way you can do it is through the collective fantasy, the collective agreement, the illusion that ownership exists in the first place. There's no connection between me and, say, I own that guitar. Okay, show me the ownership. And I show you papers with symbols on it, more meaningless stuff, but it gets into this endless, meaningless, going down the rabbit hole, and you never get to the bottom, which is to say, the experienceable quality of ownership. Okay, number 5, big one on the list, death, because it's one of the greatest fears, and yet it's a made-up word. Now, of course, you might say, you've experienced the death of a loved one or someone in your life, and quote, famous people, another made-up word, but famous people sometimes die. And you can say, well, that it is real. I've experienced it. Well, I'm not talking about the death of the body. I'm talking about the death of what is behind all the workings, the consciousness, the observer that's experiencing all of this, and could, for all we know, be the actual creator of what we call the material world. And the point is when I say that we haven't experienced death, what I really mean is there's never been a moment, and ponder this a little, there's never been a moment when consciousness was off. All you've ever known is the on of consciousness, even during sleep. And that's a tough one for people. They say, no, when I sleep, I'm out. Well, not quite, because we confuse thinking and consciousness. And when you're sleeping, thinking is turned off. So for some, it feels, because we confuse the two, it feels like consciousness is off too. But there's never been a moment in existence when there wasn't existence, that is to say, consciousness that is present. And so that's the list. Certainly comment. I'm pretty sure there'll be a long list. I hope so. And that's the point, about modern humans. We've fallen into this abstract, illusory world where we actually believe all this stuff. In Alan's way, we've been bamboozled into believing that these abstract, meaningless creations are real, when in fact they're just illusions. So we'll definitely circle back, regroup, and talk about this topic at some point, quote, and what we think of as the future.